Welcome to a brief overview of Strategy.mil. Today we're going to quickly run you through a little bit of background about the program, as well as a technical overview and a software demo. But to begin, Strategy.mil is the Army's enterprise-wide program of record for performance management. Strategy.mil, first deployed in 2005, is a modern web-based cloud service offering. It is used across the Army for different matters of performance management, and most closely within G1 is used for the harmful behaviors portfolio. It is based off of a FedRAMP approved cloud system that is used by many federal partners.
Strategy.mil is a web-based software tool operating on Amazon's GovCloud stack. We're not going to get into all the details here, but we'll just focus on each piece of the stack very quickly. So the data has to come from somewhere. One of the things unique to Strategy.mil is it collects information. It is a system of record. And so it can collect information from forms or surveys or manual updates. When the data you need exists in a system of record, that's fantastic. We can connect to databases, we can connect to web services, we can upload spreadsheets, any modern way of getting data from one system to another, Strategy.mil supports. Strategy.mil also acts as a central source for all of your performance management data. There's a scorecard section, initiative section, data set section. We're going to get into all of that in the software demo part of it. But the important takeaway here is it's all secure, it's all centrally governed in one central set of permissions, and it's all managed on the Amazon GovCloud stack. Finally, data gets out of the system in various ways. We have reports, dashboards, charts, presentations. Again, we'll all cover that in the demo at the end. But we also do analytics or alerts if something takes a turn for the worse, or forecasting, predicting future values. And then finally, all of this information can be assembled together into standalone, purpose-driven apps to address specific concerns. All of this is on a centralized, auditable, data-governed permissions platform, so you can assign both by role and by location, so UIC or installation, assuring that everybody has access to the data that they need, but only the data that they need. If you create a dashboard or a chart or report, you can share it with anybody, knowing that they will only see the data that they have permission to see on that particular dashboard or report. So there are 6 things that set Strategy.mil apart from other Army systems you might be familiar with. I'm going to quickly go through them and then we'll launch into the software. So first is strategy execution. This is built on the back of Spider Impact. Spider Impact is the industry's leading strategy execution software. It takes your organization's big picture strategy and breaks it down into small measurable pieces that you set goals to, you get a color, you get a score, and it rolls the performance up the tree so you can see at a glance, am I accomplishing my big picture strategy? More importantly, it communicates that strategy throughout your organization so everybody can see how you're doing and how they fit into the big picture. It's been doing, Strategy.mil has been doing strategy execution since day one, and this has been its bread and butter for many years. As you'll see, data collection and data visualization is a little bit newer functionality that a lot of folks are using without the strategy execution piece, but strategy execution remains, the backbone of the system. Second is data collection and management. Again, when your data exists in a system of record, fantastic. We'll connect to it and bring it in and visualize it and wire it up to your strategic plan. But when your data does not exist in a system of record, or your data exists in a legacy system of record that needs modernizing, Strategy.mil can collect that data. It's governed, it has permissions built in, it has data validation to make sure dirty data doesn't get in the system. Strategy.mil can become your system of record for data collection. The third are roll-up trees. Built into the software are concepts of installations, are concepts of UICs. And so if I have a data set with physical fitness tests, with drug testing results, whatever, where it has one record is here's the soldier, here's their PT results, and here's their UIC, you instantly get aggregations up the UIC tree because the software is built around the U.S. Army and the U.S. military, and one of the core features in that are these UIC Roll-Up Trees. The fourth is replication. The software exists both on the NIPRnet and the CIPRnet side. If you enter your strategic plan on the NIPRnet side and update information and also have some things in your strategic plan that are classified, the software automatically copies all of the data from the NIPR side to the CIPR side, and so you could overlay the classified information on top of the unclassified information. This is fairly uncommon across systems in the Army, allowing unclassified pieces and classified pieces to mix together, where the superset of the information is on the classified side. Feature 5 is automated briefings. Oftentimes when we work with a new command, they'll say, these are the 50 slides that the colonel likes to be briefed on every month. And we'll take those, and this is our, it's often a quick win. We'll take those slides and copy them pixel for pixel into our software and just swap out the numbers so that the numbers light up. They're live, the colors light up, the charts, animate, that kind of stuff. But we find that that's often a quick win when working with new installations. You can save hundreds or thousands of person hours every single month by having presentations that are always up to date and that can be easily exported to PowerPoint or PDF for backup slides. And the very last piece of this, which is relatively new functionality in the last several months in Strategy.mil, is the ability to create purpose-built custom applications. And we have a case study, an early win with replacing the Integrated Case Reporting System, ICRS. It's a legacy piece of software that we were able to replace with Strategy.mil. And it's a standalone app that has CAC authentication, central governance, AI analytics, all that kind of stuff built in. And you can create systems of record where none exist, or you can replace legacy systems with an enterprise license that the Army already pays for, so at no additional cost. I realize that was a lot of information coming very fast, and we're happy to give a more in-depth in-person briefing. But let's launch into the software demonstration piece of this. So this is a demo server. This is not the live production software. We obviously take security very seriously. This is a commercial software demo that our software is used across industry, nonprofit, government. This is a demo for a fictitious company called Mobile World, but the Surgeon General uses her strategic plan in the software. You could imagine what this would look like for different Army organizations. So this is the scorecard section. This is where your strategic plan lives. This is the Mobile World Balanced Scorecard. It's broken down into financial, customer, internal processes, organizational capacity. These are the main perspectives. This particular example is a balanced scorecard, but it works with any strategy methodology. So under organizational capacity, it's broken down into improve knowledge and skills, improve IT effectiveness, improve contract management. Underneath that, you've got to measure something. So this is the metric or key performance indicator. Here's employee satisfaction survey. All right, we're getting, our goal is 85. Anything below that's red. We're at 100%, fantastic, a score of 10. Above that, the knowledge and skills has a score of 10. Above that, organizational capacity, it's a weighted average rolling up, score of 5. The overall strategic plan has a score of 1.5, right? When your performance takes a turn for the worse, you get email alerts, and the software encourages you to put an initiative in place to fix the problem. So here, IT effectiveness has taken a real turn for the worse, and we put a migrate servers to the cloud initiative in place. I'm going to click on that, and we're jumping over to the initiative section now. Here's migrate servers to the cloud. It's using earned value management to predict that we're going to be 94 days late, but a little bit under budget, 9.9% under budget. And it's going to predict, future performance here. It also runs statistical analysis to see, is this thing actually improving the performance of the objective that it was put in place to improve? So here under improve IT effectiveness, it is having a positive initiative impact. We're going to click on that. Here's the math behind the scenes. It is correlated with an improvement of the overall objective, and you can look at the different, statistical significance and all that kind of stuff. But what it does is, if you're putting resources into an initiative and that initiative is not driving the underlying performance it needs to, You can either work on the initiative, you can pull funding and put something else in place. It gives you the tools you need to improve your overall strategy and achieve your strategic plan. Okay, the very last thing here, well, actually, let's launch really quickly into strategy maps. This is where all of the data is stored under Foundation. Under Presentation is where you visualize your data, and this software is all about data visualization. So if I'm briefing this strategy map, here's our big picture strategy. You can see that when I improve organizational capacity, it's going to improve my internal processes, and that's going to improve my customer interaction, which is going to improve my overall financial. If I look over here at improved marketing, why is that doing poorly? I can click on it. It drills me into the scorecard section, and I can see, okay, here's what's going on, and I can leave a comment for somebody, or I can see a comment that was left before, that kind of thing. So it's a platform for managing your strategy. The very last piece of this are the data set section, where you store your raw information. When you create a new data set, I can upload a file, or I can create a blank data set and use forms or other ways to get data into the software. But I can also connect to databases or web services or existing systems of record. The raw data flows into Strategy.mil, and you can do ad hoc analytics. This is a device sales data set. I can say, well, break down sales by sales employee. Okay, Isaac has 20% of the sales, Odell has 18%, and break it down by department. Let's say there's retail and corporate. Let's break it down by sale date. Let's sort descending. So this is the most recent sales date. And if I want to filter, actually, let's just look at January sales. I just click on that row, and you can see your top salespeople for January. Or I can just say, just show me corporate sales, and these are the corporate sales over time, and I only have 2 people in my sales department. So you would never actually brief leadership here, but it gives you a central place to store your data, to assign permissions, and to do ad hoc analytics. Where you would actually brief your leadership are these presentation sections up here. Here's charts. The exact same data we were looking at, but in a chart section. Here's a 50% median band here. Here's the top 4 countries we're selling in, broken down by salesperson. Here's a geographic thing. It's the sales by state. New Jersey has 1.2 million in sales. We'll click on that, drill in, look like this zip code is doing particularly well. So yeah, you can view data geographically. Here's reports, individual sales, but this could be equipment, this could be incidents, this could be whatever things you're tracking in the software, right? Here's the sales, individual sales by salesperson for February. We can go to, well, we don't have any data for March because it's not March yet. But here's what it looks like in January. And they're heat map coded, and you can see, all right, here's all my sales information. I can export this to PowerPoint. I can export it to Excel. I can export it to PDF, all the different options. Here's the same kind of thing, but aggregated. These are total sales by employee and country. So across the row are my employees. The columns are countries, and you can see things jumping out at you. You've seen patterns. We can see United States is doing incredibly well, that kind of stuff. But again, it's not just the low-level data. It's also your KPIs, the things that you've assigned goals to and they're getting scored. So here's all of my downward trending KPIs, or here's all my red KPIs in the software, everything that needs intervention. Dashboards is a very popular feature of the software. Again, exact same kind of data, except for it's fully interactive and it's laid out on a freeform canvas. So I can just look at Holly's sales in North America, for example, and everything updates and you get the data projections. All of this is a freeform canvas, just like PowerPoint. You move these things around. You can change font size, colors. We have a huge menu of different options, images, text, shapes, just like PowerPoint. But you've got speedometers and gauges, and because all your data is in the centralized library, there's a financial speedometer, there's a customer speedometer. You can drag things around and line them up how you want. We've got all different charts and graphs, bullseye charts, polar bar, any kind of data visualization that's popular we've got, but also a lot of things like infographic style. So here's a funnel or a cycle chart or whatever, right? Strategy map section, we already covered that. And then the briefing section, this is unique to Strategy.mil. This is a PowerPoint replacement. So whenever you have your live briefings and you want to brief leadership every single month, you can take your existing PowerPoints and plug in real live data. So, this is a briefing for February 2026. No, it's actually for January 2026, and it's going to show me January's data. So you can live update and show real information based on your existing PowerPoint slides. So here's that, the strategy that the leader might see, or here's a report on my key performance indicators, or here's a cycle chart showing, continuous improvement or whatever. And the leader says, wait a minute, why is optimization 0? I thought we were doing better than that. Because it's all based on live data, I can click on this, it drills into the software, into your data library, and you can see, oh, well, that's why it's so poorly since our last briefing. We really, went down in performance. Or you can look at the other KPIs or whatever. And the entire time in the upper left-hand corner, there's a resume briefing link. When I click that, we jump right back into the briefing and pick up where we left off before. So the briefing section is great because it takes all the different screens from within the software and assembles them into one central spot where you step through in a linear fashion. The very last two things I wanted to talk about are the data collection and apps sections. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but one of the things we found with Strategy.mil over the years is the software works great when the data has a system of record. But when the data that you need to report on doesn't have a system of record, it's in a spreadsheet on someone's desktop, or even worse, it's on a physical logbook, sitting on some gate somewhere. How do you collect the information that you need to report on your strategic plan or your tactical dashboards? Well, we've got forms now that address that, and this is where a lot of the effort in the last couple of years has gone in. Here's a climate survey where you can send out to everybody and get their opinions. Every response in the survey goes into the data set section, and your dashboards automatically light up based on that data. Or here's a customer management, but again, this could be equipment, this could be incidents, failed drug tests, whatever. It's a incident management thing. So this is all the incidents I can search for. In this example, it's customers. Oh, okay, that's the one I was looking for. I click that customer, and I can see, oh yeah, I've only sold one thing to them in January 25, and here's all my customer information. I can upload a customer license agreement. I can, create a new sale to that customer. So it's got data input and validation functionality built in. And most importantly, if you're collecting data in a spreadsheet or SharePoint or something, you don't have data validation. So if I forget to type in the person's last name and I save it, it's not going to let me. That field is required. Or if I've got a phone number that has letters in it or something, it's not going to let me save that because it's not in the correct format. And so a lot of this is just being able to get clean data into the software, run reports on legacy data that's dirty and clean it up. A lot of the effort we do, yes, we do visualization and analytics and all that kind of stuff, but a lot of it is just getting your data clean and getting future data coming in a clean format so you can actually depend on the data you're dealing with here. Okay, the very last piece of this is apps. Apps, just like how briefings allow you to assemble different screens in the application in a linear fashion that goes from slide to slide, apps allow you to take the different screens and assemble them together into purpose-built, curated applications for specific tasks for specific personnel. And you can create, again, a Pentagon Force Protection Agency uses us to track mileage on their cars. They scan a QR code. I'm starting the trip. All right, I'm scanning the QR code again. I'm ending the trip. All that data goes into the system of record, and you're able to report on vehicle usage, right? And they're very customized, specific apps that are tailored for one single purpose. But in that PA example, it was a new system of record that didn't exist before. But we can also replace legacy systems of record. And let me show you an example of that. So it's important to know all the data you see here is completely AI generated or fake data. None of this stuff is real. Here's the legacy ICRS training site. And most of the action there happened in the sexual harassment case listings section, where it would list 10 cases at a time. And if you wanted to see, case number 67 or 67 cases ago, I'd have to click on page 6 and I would go to that one. Oh, yep, let's click on Jane Doe. And it's a case management system. This was hard-coded legacy software written in .NET. And if you wanted to change a field or Congress said, actually, I want, instead of tracking this type of data, I also want to track this type of data, you would have to have a software developer go in and add the new field and add the form validation. But this is a case management system like many of the other harmful behavior systems. You can say what type of harassment's tracked, that kind of stuff. So this is also an example with all AI generated data. This is a replacement system. We're already running live in production and things are working great. This is the ICRS application and it's powered by Strategy.mil. Strategy.mil behind the scenes, same permissions. You can only get access to the data that you could see in Strategy.mil, but it's a much more simplified, curated set of screens specific for this task. So the tabs are exactly the same as you could have on the legacy ICRS. We'll go to cases, and instead of showing me 10 at a time, now it's going to show me all 14,000 cases. And because you've data visualization as a first-class citizen in Strategy.mil, you can have data visualizations built right into the software. I'm going to search for Robert. All right, that's the one, Gil Robert. And yeah, click on that one, and I can see, again, this is all AI-generated data. Exact same case thing, complaint information, alleged offender. We just copied the form identically with the same form validation, but now we have additional things that they didn't have before, like DA form 7746 you can upload. Or you could have advanced field validation where if this option is A and this thing is B, then C is required, otherwise C isn't required. Complicated data validation. Also, because this is built on the back of Strategy.mil, reporting is built in. So there's a brand new reporting tab. So I can run case analysis on the cases I have the ability to see. So I can look at AMC cases at RCENT, right? Again, all AI generated data, but you can understand the types of information you'd be able to view directly into this curated app. And the final piece is dashboards work really, really great when leaders know what kind of information leaders want to see ahead of time. And if you want to export them to PowerPoint or have them sent out automatically in an email every month, that's great. But what happens when a leader wants to answer their own questions? They want to say, how many sexual harassment incidents were at Fort Riley in 2023? And so the software is going to go off and turn that query into an actual, or whatever I typed in there, into an actual query, and it's going to run it against the data set, and it's going to come back with the number 15, because there were 15 incidents at Fort Riley in 2023, or 16, or whatever, right? And this is a locked-in, hard-coded number that doesn't change. The AI isn't going to hallucinate this number because this is an actual query coming from the data sets. It's counting the number of incidents in the harassment incidents data set, where the SARC location is Fort Riley and the reported date is in 2023. And this is the kind of, or you can say, show me the number of harassment incidents broken down monthly for 2023, regardless of SARC location. And it's going to go off and query the data sets and give you your answer in a line chart, probably, because it's broken down monthly and it's a time series point, but the AI is going to decide what kind of data you want best for it. And perfect. Monthly harassment incidents reported monthly from January to December 2023, and you can see the number. And I can copy this to my organization, and I can save it, and I can use it in Strategy.mil later in a briefing or something like that. But oftentimes, this is all you need to do. You just need to get a quick answer out of the software. So that is an incredibly brief overview of Strategy.mil. The entire idea, though, is that it takes your strategic plan and breaks it into measurable pieces and helps you execute that strategic plan. Oftentimes, you need raw data to feed that strategic plan. And so there's this whole tier of data collection, data management behind the scenes, where Strategy.mil becomes your system of record for this low-level tactical data. And then it takes all that information and rolls it up to big picture reporting for the overall organization. As I mentioned before, we're happy to give an in-depth, in-person briefing, but this is just a very quick overview to show you what the system's all about and what it's capable of. Thank you for your time.